Welcome to I Remember When. I'm Gwenda McCall. Here we are in the beautiful Columbia River Gorge. Now, those of us that were raised in the Pacific Northwest have good memories of Sunday drives to Multnomah Falls and picnics in the park. Well, today's guest loved the gorge so much that he and his lovely wife, Judy, moved right here, and they've filled their home with wonderful memorabilia. I'd like you to meet Steve Lehl. Steve, thanks for inviting us to your home today.
Oh, my pleasure. You'd like to come inside and see some pictures?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
You have such a beautiful view here, but I'm curious, what is this deck that's right behind us?
That's my wood-fired hot tub.
So you sit out there on the edge of the world in your hot tub?
I sure do.
Oh, I'm so jealous. We took this one off your wall. This makes me glad I wasn't born a pioneer woman. Tell us a little about this picture.
Well, that's the rock promontory there to the right of the picture. That's Crown Point, where Crown Point is today. And that's a little cabin out there, more or less where Rooster Rock is.
Now, but this is on the Washington side looking?
No, it'd be on the Oregon side.
Oh, it is on the Oregon side.
Yeah, it's kind of where Rooster Rock Park is, looking up at the Vista House.
Oh, for heaven's sake, but the Vista House isn't there yet, obviously.
There yet, yeah. That'd also be the 1880s.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Vista House. The road that goes, the old highway that gets to the Vista House, when was that constructed?
It was started construction in 1913, and they finished it in 1915.
1915.
And then they had the dedication in 1916.
So before they finished the road, how did people get from Portland to the Dalles?
Either by steamboat or by train.
I think that's so interesting. Here's, we're going to start getting into your old postcard pictures. Now, a person who collects postcards is a
Deltiologist.
A deltiologist. I'd never heard that word before, and you have a marvelous collection.
Thank you.
Here we're looking at the Crown Point before the Vista House is in. Why did they decide to build the Vista House? What's the purpose behind that?
Well, it was a memorial to the pioneers. They figured it would be a nice fitting spot for a memorial. It was, the construction was in 1916. They dedicated it 1916, or they didn't dedicate it. They started construction in 1916. They dedicated it in 1918.
Here's another picture that I really like to pull that off of the grading before the Vista House is sitting right there on Crown Point.
Yeah, it used to be called Thor's Heights.
Thor, like the guy with the lightning bolts that
yeah.
threw down. Oh, that's interesting. And so then they changed it to the Vista House in Crown Point. Now these two, like a before and after. Tell us about these two.
Okay, well, this one here is an artist's rendition. Yeah, you can see it's a photograph, but you can see where the architect Edgar Lazarus, he drew it in. He
drew in the Vista House the way he thought it would look.
Yeah.
And then the one right below it is the
actual picture.
They're not really all that much alike. The top one looks kind of like science fiction.
Yeah, a little more space age. Yeah,
it's space age, taking off for the moon. I thought that was really interesting. Oh, and here's a picture of the dedication.
Yeah.
And the rosarians are there. We do have a picture in the book of a fellow who had a lot to do with the building of the Crown Point. John B. Yon, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yon, and he was a Royal Rosarian, and I thought this picture was wonderful. Now, they saved the dedication of the road so that it would correspond
with the Rose Festival, 1916, June.
That's great. All right, a couple more pictures here of the Vista House. It's of fellows standing out in front, and there's so much stained glass in these original pictures. Is that glass there now?
No, the one on the bottom level it's gone. The stuff on the top is still there.
Still there. Oh, good. So we do have some of the original glass here left. Good. Oh, and I chose this one because when you drive around the Vista House and you're starting to go back down around the hill, you don't really notice this entrance into this underground area and all, and you're driving so quickly and
you
not
don't
looking.
notice it.
What's under there?
It's just storage space, offices, and they have now the gift shop for the Vista House.
I liked that one. And we should comment, I suppose, that these are not color photographs, right?
Yeah, they're hand
hand colored. Now, the Vista House had a kind of a funny name, just a slang name. They said they built it was the
$100,000 outhouse.
$100,000 outhouse. Now, why would it have got a nickname like that?
Well, there were people that weren't really that enthused about spending that much money on the road itself and then the memorial for the pioneers. They just thought it was kind of an exorbitant price to pay.
Well, who were the people who used this road in the
Well, it
Vista
started out, it was the people the first people that had automobiles in Portland.
House? So the wealthy.
Yeah, the wealthy. They didn't have a place to drive their cars, so they started a road project.
And I chose these two because they're the first color photographs that came through on the postcards. How old would these be? What year would these be?
In the 50s, probably later 40s, early 50s.
But that's even before the freeway. When we're looking at the lower left of the first one.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of the freeway, or not the freeway, but the old highway.
The old highway,
Yeah.
before it was the freeway.
Yeah.
All right, let's move up the gorge a little bit farther now. We'll have one last view of the overall. I love, this is a long postcard. They had different shapes,
Yeah.
too. You can see Crown Point and looking up the gorge. It's beautiful. All right, let's move up a little farther to Multnomah Falls. The very first Multnomah Falls postcard that you have, and this would be about what year, do you think?
Probably 1899, 1900.
Gosh, there's no bridges across the front of
No,
it at all.
no.
There are telegraph wires of some kind, and there's a covered shed, and that's about it. I couldn't believe this was a postcard. Tell us about this. This is wood.
Just a wooden postcard, yeah.
Wooden postcard.
Yeah, they had wood and metal. They had metal postcards.
Really?
And then leather also.
Boy, that makes collecting postcards all the more interesting. It's all hand-carved and painted. Beautiful. More of Multnomah Falls. Let's look at the old wooden bridge right here. The old wooden bridge that they had. And then, do you have a year that they put the concrete one across?
I believe it was 1908. I think Simon Benson gave the money to build the bridge.
Boy, some of these names you keep hearing in the gorge restoration. They just keep coming up. And here's the lodge when it was new, 1925. And I pulled this other picture simply because it matched the weather that we're having right now. The frozen gorge. And it still is. Has it ever frozen completely over?
Oh, a number of years, yeah. The river itself is just completely frozen over.
And do the falls ever quit falling?
No, they keep on going.
Or goes underneath the ice, I
Goes
suppose, and
underneath,
keeps coming down. But that's the way it looks right now. This is February, early February. Okay. All right, let's move a little farther past there and look at the Rooster Rock. I did not know that there was a cannery at Rooster Rock. That's really interesting. What type of things did they can?
Salmon, sturgeon, but mainly the salmon.
Whatever they could get out of the river.
Yeah.
And the help would have been?
Mainly Chinese. There's even an opium bottle that came from down there.
This bottle right here?
Yes.
It has such a narrow little tube inside. This would be an opium bottle? For heaven's sake. I didn't have any idea. Now, the cannery didn't make it.
Well, I mean, it was in kind of a bad spot because it did silt up, and they had trouble getting the boats to make it in there. So they made channels, and then finally there's a little tramway that they'd meet the boats out at the end of it and transport the fish that way. But it was just a little bit too
hard to get the fish over the silt that built up. That's too bad that the cannery didn't make it. I didn't know there was a cannery there. It's fascinating. Here's another one of your strange postcards here.
Yeah, leather one, yes.
Leather. All right, now that we're in the cannery, let's talk a little bit about the fishing.
Fish wheels.
Okay. This is a picture of a fish wheel.
Yeah, they first came to the Columbia River in 1879, and they...
How did it work? It has a big wheel.
Yeah, it was a big wheel, and it was the water power that turned the wheel, and it would just scoop the fish as they went by, scoop up and throw them
So the wheel actually had like a scoop.
Yeah.
And it would come up and throw the fish up on a surface.
On the surface, yeah.
For heaven's sake. Okay. Oh, and here we have some fish pictures. Good. Here's a rowboat, how it used to look when they fished.
Yeah.
Not anymore. And a larger type of operation here.
It'd be a scow.
A scow, and full of fish right in the center of the boat there. Oh, and here's another fish wheel picture. I think this is a better picture. Let's look at this. Well, I bet they kept that cannery busy.
Yeah, and one day, it was more towards the Dalles, one fish wheel pulled out 35 tons of salmon in one day.
Incredible.
70,000 pounds. Yeah, it's incredible.
That's why when we go fishing, we can't catch anything.
Yeah, that's why they were finally outlawed in Oregon in 1926.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, this sturgeon picture was so interesting because it even had the weights right on it. I don't think they're finding them that big out there anymore.
Oh, they're there, but you're not allowed. 6 feet is the limit now.
So if it's
anything over
6 or under
3.
So you have to get between the 3 and the 6. That's interesting. Oh, now the fishing. Tell us about how fishing with horses. Tell us about what that's called.
Yeah, the horse seining. They would use fish. They'd use the horses to pull in the nets. They'd send a boat out with the net, and then once they made the circle, they'd use the horses to pull the net in.
And you call that seining?
Seining, yeah.
S-E-I-N-I-N-G. Seining. I never heard of that kind of fishing either. Oh, here's an old picture in one of the canneries. This goes back a ways. Lots of fish.
Yeah, and that picture on the top right, the average size is 65 to 75 pounds.
Is that right? I love salmon. All right, let's move a little farther down the river here. Tell us about the history, or the interesting thing about Castle Rock.
Castle Rock. That was what originally the fellow who owned it wanted to make it a state park, and Washington wasn't really that enthused on having a state park, so he offered it to the Oregon park system, and Oregon was going to take it.
We'd have a park in Washington, Oregon
Park in Washington, yeah. But then Washington said, "Oh, wait a minute, that doesn't sound too good." So they went along with it and made it a park.
Well, this really is a special rock. It's unique. It's even in the Guinness Book of World Records. Ripley's, believe it or not, you said.
Well, it's the second world's largest. It's the second world's largest monolith.
Next to
Rock of Gibraltar.
Right here, we have it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great. Oh, and there's another.
Okay, this is the one in
Ripley's. I got my wires crossed. This one in the upper left here. This is the one in Ripley's.
Now, if you look closely, the rock formation right here is a profile of George Washington.
Oh.
You see his nose, and there's an indentation for his eye and mouth, and.
Oh, for heaven's sake! That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see. You really notice it once you drive by.
Does that one have a special name?
That's Oneonta. That's the bluffs.
The bluffs of Oneonta.
Yeah.
The Pillars of Hercules. I picked these just because I like this little tree on top here.
Yeah, that tree is 40 feet tall, so you get an idea of how big the rocks really are.
And is the tree still there?
No, it's gone.
Aw. And we have some ladies walking down the track here on this bottom picture, but the Pillars of Hercules. Now, the railroad goes between the pillars. Does the railroad go between the pillars now?
No, it's on the other side.
It goes on the side towards the river.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's move on to the Bridal Veil and the logging.
Yeah.
All right, Bridal Veil Mill. Can you put us in a year here?
They started in late 1800s, and they had the finishing mill was down in Bridal Veil, and then 4 miles up the mountain, you had the Palmer Mill, and they had a flume that ran in between the two of them.
Oh, would that be this flume that I'm seeing?
Yeah, the log flume down in the right-hand corner. Yeah.
And for those of us who are neophytes at this, a flume is?
There's a wooden trough with water running through it where they'd put the logs or the cut lumber, and they'd just float it on downstream.
That's so interesting. They'd have their own little aqueduct type of thing that just sent the logs. Okay, and here we with the...
Yeah, they'd cut the rough cut lumber up above, and then they'd run it down the flume, and then they'd finish it off and then ship it from Bridal Veil.
And we're at Bridal Veil still. I liked this picture because they stacked the lumber up so crooked. I didn't want to be standing in that one.
Yeah.
That's funny. And here we have some of your hand-colored postcards of the Bridal Veil outfit.
Well, actually, this would be the two on the top, or the mill up in Palmer.
Oh, Palmer.
Palmer Mill.
Okay, it says Bridal Veil
Yeah, it
Falls,
says, yeah.
but it's really Palmer.
Palmer,
Oh, that's good to know. And these fellows look like they're having an afternoon nap here.
Taking it easy, yeah. Imagine cutting through one of those.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Oh, this is why I was so interested about Simon Benson. Tell us about this cradle. Looks like the inside, the ribs of a boat with these logs in it. Now,
yeah, he wasn't the one who came up with the idea, but somebody else had tried it before. But he came up with the idea with using the bigger chain links to wrap the logs, and he was able to transport them from the Columbia River. And then they'd hook onto an ocean-going tug, and they'd take them down to California, where he had a lumber mill where he would make a bigger profit.
I thought that was so interesting. They'd strap these logs together. It looks like a big pie.
It's actually a big cigar because underneath the water too. It's just
and it was ocean going.
Ocean going.
It
was
wouldn't fall apart.
Built to go in the ocean.
So that's how they got the logs from here down to San Francisco and places farther south.
Yeah.
And here's another group of pictures of Simon Benson's invention of getting the logs, and you can see the people on them in the lower left-hand one to give you an idea of the perspective. Must have been strong chains, too.
Very strong.
And let's move on to the Bonneville Dam. Yeah. What history can you tell me now about the Bonneville Dam?
Oh, that was FDR. That was his idea to bring cheap power to the country and put people to work.
During the WPA, or for the WPA?
For the WPA, yeah. Grand Coulee and Bonneville started about the same time.
Oh, is that right?
In the early 30s. And Bonneville, they dedicated it in 1937.
You have some terrific pictures of the building of the dam. Where do these go back away? Well, to the 30s, like you said.
33, 34.
Fascinating. You mentioned the name of a singer when we were speaking.
Woody Guthrie. Yeah, he was commissioned by the Bonneville Power Administration. They make a movie, and they needed some music to go with it. Woody Guthrie was the one. "Roll On, Columbia, Roll On," I think is probably the most famous of the songs. Oh,
and you even have sheet music with the pictures of the gorge on the front of it.
Yeah, sheet music and
all kinds of things. That's right. Oh, I liked this picture because it really put us back in time and shows how far back.
Yeah, fish hatcheries, it wasn't really nothing new. It was back at the turn of the century, and it shows the inside of the cannery, and then the fish hatchery at Bonneville Dam. Well, it was actually before Bonneville Dam.
But there's the gals in the long dresses. Imagine working for that period of time in clothing that long. These postcards are so fascinating. Where do you find all of your material?
The big flea markets, antique stores, and being a garbage man, I do find them in the garbage every once in a while.
People throw things like this away, really?
Yes, they do.
Oh, they just don't have any idea, do they?
No.
Let's work our ways a little bit back through the gorge now. You took the time to mount all of these falls pictures. And while the camera looks at these falls, go ahead and tell us the story about one of your hiking experiences.
Well, the only bad hiking experience I ever had was at Oneonta Gorge. And it was all frozen over like it has been the last couple of weeks. And we were down towards the end of it, and I fell through the ice.
How'd you get out?
Well, I was like a Polaris missile. I was in and out of the water so fast I don't think I even got wet.
Oh, for heaven's sake. But then you had to hike all the way back.
I hiked all the way back, and by then my legs were frozen solid.
Is that right?
It was cold out.
Could you feel your toes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Now, you have some other larger photographs in the house that we'll take the camera around and catch a glimpse of. Tell us about the one over the mantle.
The one over the mantle, that was a Kaiser photo.
Mr. Kaiser.
Mr. Kaiser, they're hand-tinted, hand-colored photo, great large ones. They were done in the about 1908, 1909, and they made them for Multnomah Falls, Oregon Caves, and the Crater Lake Lodge. And he also had a few in the Portland Hotel, and these came from the Portland Hotel when they tore it down.
How did you find that one?
In an antique store.
Ooh, yeah. What a find.
It was hidden up in the upstairs, and I asked him if he wanted to sell it, and he was more than glad to get rid of it. So
it's so big.
It, yeah.
And it had a mate.
Yes, it did. One of Lost Lake and Mount Hood.
They're both so big you can't get them in the same room. You had to hang that one in the other
bedroom.
room.
Yeah. Well, that one I hope will go to Timberline Lodge.
Oh, that's nice. You're going to donate it to Timberline Lodge?
If they'll put it in a lodge, I sure will.
Well, good for you. All right, let's get back to the gorge itself and the highway. Tell us what this picture
Okay,
is.
this is Mitchell Point Tunnel. In 1908, when Sam Hill and Lancaster, they went over to Europe for the first road building congress in Europe, they came back with the idea, they went through Switzerland, Axenstrasse, Switzerland, and they had a tunnel similar to this here. It would only have 3 windows, where Mitchell Point has 5. And it's a shame that when they expanded the freeway, or the main superhighway in '52, they destroyed the tunnels.
Now, the freeway went underneath. That's the freeway
Yeah, it was
we drive
below
on
it.
now. So
Yeah.
why did they have to take the tunnels out up above?
Well, they were afraid of rocks falling on the railroad track end of the highway.
So this beautiful structure,
It's no
how'd
longer
they destroy it?
dynamite.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's sad.
It's terrible.
Really sad.
Now, when this was the only road from Portland to the Dalles, it must have been a heck of a trip.
Very.
How long do you think it would take?
It would take them, boy, they'd usually spend all day going from Portland to the Dalles. Yeah.
And hope you didn't get car sick.
Yeah, or flat tires was a big problem then
Oh,
too.
I
Flat
bet,
tires,
with the
yeah.
old tires. Well, this is quite a construction, this highway. And Steve, you have really given us a wonderful overall view of the gorge. Thank you so much for inviting us here and sharing all these pieces.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for joining us on I Remember When. I'm Gwenda McCall. Good night.